Hello everyone, Ben here, and we are on the grid in the BMW M6 GT3 PlayStation livery at Silverstone, and we are about to get underway for a 15-minute ranked race here in RaceRoom, and we've got a decent start. We qualified in 9th, we're already up into 8th place, and we're going to try and hug the inside here for the first corner, just try to stay out of trouble really, and it looks as if most of the grid have been able to do that, and we're going to now try and just stick to the inside, keep the apex. There's a bit of contact up ahead, but that's given us 7th place, and we're going to do likewise, just drive down the inside. But there has been a bit of an accident up ahead. We managed to just skirt around the outside of that, and we're going to get better drive out of that incident than the car on our outside, or we know we're not. He's just able to make it stick around the outside, but nevertheless we are up into 5th place. A fantastic start there, just about managing to stay out of trouble, as there was definitely quite a big incident there at the very tight left-hander where at least one car managed to get turned around. The guy up ahead of us looks like he's in all sorts of trouble himself there, as he's squirming out of the corner there. Perhaps we're going to be able to make up another spot if we're able to just put a bit of pressure on through the second half of this opening lap. He's on the brakes. We managed to get quite a nice tight line. He's very slow out there. We have to duck to the outside. Unfortunately pick up an incident point for going off track there, but there really was no other alternative other than smash into the back of him. I was not expecting him to be that slow mid-corner. It's a very tricky corner to judge, but nevertheless. So we've gone through the Maggots and Beckett's complex for the first time. We've got some pressure now coming from behind from the BMW, who is in our mirrors big time, as we were ultimately just a little bit slower coming out onto the hangar straight than he was. We've managed to just about hold him behind. He's going to have a little look down our inside, but he's not alongside us. That should probably give us a better exit from the corner, and it does, as we're now heading towards the final complex of corners on this opening lap at Silverstone. BMW behind us now coming under pressure from a Porsche, as we're now just coming around the right-hander. We won't get close to the guy up ahead again on this lap at least, but we are able to consolidate 5th place. Gaining 4 spots off the line is really great, so feeling very encouraged at this stage of the race as we come round now into the second lap. We're going to try and put a bit of pressure on, because he's got his line wrong there. Not quite sure why he's taken such a tight line into this right-hander. We're going to now try and make the switchback move to just get a tight line, but we just clip the curb on the inside. That is not the quickest way around that corner, but I was just trying to sneak up the inside of the car ahead. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make it stick. Let's take a little look back at that first lap then from our perspective. You can see we've made a good start. We're just occupying the inside line there, and of course as we now duck to the outside, we know there's going to be the right-hander following, so if we can just get later on the brakes, which we're able to, then a little bit of a contact there, but ultimately fair racing on the opening lap. But here comes the incident. We're fortunate enough to be on the outside of this, so we don't get slowed down too much, but there you can see it's a bit like ping pong for one unfortunate driver as he shunted between a couple of cars. Let's look at it again from the vantage point of the Porsche here, as he comes in, and yes, he just tags him from behind. He gets half spun and then gets collected by 2 more cars. So really unfortunate there. The Porsche driver, I think, just not quite judging his braking properly, and that wouldn't be the end of the action for this driver, as we've cut to the end of the first lap, and he is going to overtake the BMW, who was so close to our rear bumper just earlier on in this lap. Really good overtaking maneuver there, as he forces him wide at the last corner, but pretty aggressive. And just a lap later, the BMW driver decided he wasn't going to have that, and he was going to try and get the place back, so he dives down the inside here, nice and late on the brakes, forces the Porsche driver wide. He actually tries the switchback move himself, so he's going to try and occupy the inside line here into the very fast left-hander, and they make contact, and the Porsche driver is round. He comes off the track to just make sure he doesn't get collected in any other accidents, but he's paid a big price there for what was a fantastic battle, in fairness, and I think you would probably put it down to a racing incident. Perhaps the BMW could have given him a little bit more space. We're now rejoining the race about halfway through. It's been fairly static between that opening couple of laps and now, as the gaps basically between myself, the car up ahead and the car behind have been pretty stationary really. We've all been lapping at a similar pace in the low 2-minute 1 seconds. The lead 3 cars are pretty much away. They're not dramatically quicker than we are consistently, but they are quicker, and it's very unlikely that unless they make a very big mistake, we're going to get anywhere near them. But just up ahead there, you might have seen the driver making a little error into the left-hander, and he's basically lost control of the car, and he's gone off the track there. I'm not sure where he's going to rejoin as we come around the left-hander, but for the time being, we are up into 4th position. So, oh, and look at that, he's actually retired from the race. I'm not quite sure what's gone on there. He just got out of shape. Totally the wrong line. He was approaching that corner with a very narrow line early in the race as well, but let's take a little look back at the replay and see what happens. Oh, and there you go. You can see he clips the curb big time, and I guess he must have really damaged his suspension to come off the track then and ultimately park it up and decide not to continue in this race. So we fast forward then just another lap or so, and we've got about 5 minutes left of this race, and we are now coming under some pretty significant pressure from the BMW behind. I think at this stage it's become pretty clear that we are not the quicker of the 2 drivers on track here between myself and the BMW behind. He definitely has a bit of pace on us, but what I'm able to do at the minute is just keep the gap to around 3 to 4 tenths of a second and then defend my line pretty well. So he hasn't really had a direct overtaking opportunity as yet in the race, but he is closing in bit by bit every lap. So it feels to me at the moment, with just 5 minutes left in this race, that it's a matter of time essentially, and that I'm very unlikely to be able to hold 4th place from him. As we come now towards the end of this lap, you can see he closes right in the braking zone there. There's no real way past here unless I get very, very wide. So really, he's now going to be thinking about lining up a move into T3, that right-hander, or possibly the corner afterwards. We come now into the very fast T1 and then across the track and into the left-hander for T2. Is he going to try down the inside of us here? He's not really close enough. We're pretty good on the brakes. We've got a good line into this corner throughout this race. We're going to take to the outside to open up the corner, the left-hander, and get a decent line through there as well. So actually, we should be okay as we head onto the straight now, because we've managed to get a decent exit from that corner. To be absolutely honest with you, it was the next 2 corners that were causing me the most trouble on this lap. Getting the car slowed down here, down into 3rd, sometimes into 2nd as we do now go, to just try and give ourselves a little bit of drive here. Very tricky right-hander. He's now really closed right in. He was trying to find a way down our inside there. We just about closed that off, but you can see just how much slower we were. I was never comfortable through that corner. I couldn't get a line that seemed to work for me, but now he is really closing in. Would he be crazy enough to try and move down the inside here? Thankfully he isn't. He thinks twice about that despite showing his nose to the inside. And now we're into the Maggots-Beckett's complex, where really again there's no way through, not safely anyway. If he does make a move through here, then we're probably both going off onto the runoff area or into the gravel. So it's all about trying to get a good exit from this set of corners onto the hangar straight. I think we've just about managed to do that, but of course he is within our draft, and so he's very likely to close in here as we get down the straight and into the right-hander, and we're going to try and get on the brakes as late as we can. He does try and get close to us, but actually he's made a bit of a mistake there, because in doing so, what's happened there is he's lost a bit of time to the driver behind him. Fast forward on to the next lap, and actually this guy behind the BMW means business, and he's managed to claw back the gap that he had to him after an incident earlier in the race, and he's now going to overtake him as we come onto the straight there. He got a better line out of the corner, and he's just about got that move done. The BMW tries to get back down the inside, but he's not able to do it. Now then, this guy is seriously quick. He is a very highly rated driver. I think his rating is in the 1900s, so that's a good couple of 100 rating points more than we have, and we've now got about a lap and a half left of this race to try and keep him behind. If I thought the BMW driver was quicker than us, I absolutely know that the Audi driver behind us now is faster than us. So this is all going to be about defensive driving. And it's all about treading a fine line, really, because you don't want to drive unfairly. You don't want to crowd a driver out. You don't want to move in the braking zone. You don't want to squeeze a driver off the track. But at the same time, I want to mount a robust defence here. I've worked quite hard to keep this 4th place. As here we go, you can see there he's closed in dramatically towards the end of the lap as the BMW really struggles, or at least I struggle in the BMW around the tight and twisty sections of this track. But here we go, we're on to the final lap, and I'm going to try and defend as hard as I can here while not doing anything that oversteps the mark. We're a little bit wide already as I'm feeling the pressure of entering this last lap. He shows to the inside, but again we're able to hold that relatively comfortably. I know that he's going to have a go down the inside here, but we've managed to just close that off. He was never alongside us. He then crucially runs wide, and that is going to cost him all the way down this straight now. So we've got a little bit of breathing space, and critically we've got a bit of a gap into these next 2 corners, which I know I'm going to struggle through, and he will close back up, but at least he's unlikely to be in a position to mount an overtake into this corner because of that mistake a few corners ago. So here we go then, he's right back on our rear bumper as we come around the right-hander. Pretty even exits from that corner, and I'm now really just hoping that he doesn't try anything into this right-hander. I don't think he's going to be close enough. He's within a couple of tenths, but really nowhere near alongside. We just about hold to the apex. He runs wide. I suspect he's done that on purpose to just try and gain a bit of extra time and has taken the incident point essentially, but we nevertheless managed to hold it ahead of him into the Maggots complex. Now into the right-hander. He's got pretty close to us there again. Does he have a better exit from this corner than we do? It looks like he might do. Yes, he is closing on us here. So we're just going to attempt to take a defensive line as we come now down the hanger straight for the final time. He's going to have to come to the outside now then, so we're going to just try and get our braking spotted right. He's now going to try the switchback move. He will get a better exit speed than us, but look at that, he doesn't have the line to get alongside us. 2 more corners to go in essence. We're going to now come to the inside and just block him off from trying down the inside. Now we get the better apex ahead of him, and there's no real way through now as long as we hold our line tight, which we do. He's going to come to the outside, off the track in fact, but it's not going to be enough, and we are going to hold a fantastic 4th place. Wow, that was intense. I can't believe we've managed to do that against 2 drivers who are absolutely, definitely quicker than we are, particularly the guy in the Audi, as I say. Let's take a look back then at some of the pressure that he applied in that final lap and that we were just about managed to resist. We come now round into the right-hander. He's going to try and cut back onto our inside. He doesn't get far enough alongside. In fairness, he could have tapped us from behind there, but he got on the brakes just in time. He did run wide though, and that was crucial in giving us the space through the middle part of the lap to not come under further sustained pressure. But here we are on the hanger straight. We've come to the inside defensive line. He goes to the outside to try and get around us. That's not going to happen. So he tries the switchback move to get alongside us into the final set of corners. Again, he just didn't have the exit speed to do it. We hug to the inside, very defensive line now, down into 1st gear, and there's nowhere for him to go essentially. So we've basically parked the bus and into the final corner now. He's going to give it everything he's got, even taking to the runoff area on the outside of the track, but it isn't enough. And we come home with a very, very well-earned 4th. Very, very happy with that indeed. There's the final classifications. I hope you've enjoyed this race as much as I did running it. If you have, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.